This is exactly what I was talking about in my last video. Yo, this is Real Talk E. Welcome to the locker room where we talk nothing but basketball. The same issue still stands with the NBA. From a night and a day where we had amazing games on Christmas, game after game after game, 5 in a row, to yesterday was an insane letdown. Now, mind you, there were a couple of games I felt like could have been great. There was one game that ended up being amazing. But for the most part, yesterday's games were not great at all. You look at the Thunder Pacers game. This game had a lot of potential, and it stood up to that potential. It lived up to the hype. I have things to say about this game that I don't know if most people are going to like. First and foremost, Pacers start off on a 10-0 run. Then it was 22-7. Obi Toppin goes down. Thunder fight back. And it was pretty much neck to neck the entire game after that first quarter. Shea put up like a 40-piece. He went insane. A couple of players on the Thunder starting lineup had 20 or more points. The Pacers did great. If you consider the fact Obi Toppin went down and Tyrese Halliburton only had like 8 points or 4 points and 8 assists, this is an amazing game from the Indiana Pacers. And you consider the fact that they're a very young team. Both of these teams are young, and this game went to overtime. The Thunder ended up winning a 120-114, and the thing that I want to really hone in on is, I'm not going to lie to you, I've thought for the longest that I might be sleeping on the Thunder. But the last couple of games I've tuned in and watched the Thunder play, I don't know if I am specifically sleeping on the Thunder or the Thunder just hit a wall. And that might be a crazy take, but I think the Thunder have hit a wall. I don't know how much growing they can do together as a team without a change. And by a change, I mean something dramatic to the team. If the Thunder want to hit another level, there needs to be something insanely different. Either a player is going to have to shock us and really develop and hit a level that nobody expected, or they might need to go out there and make a trade. The Thunder look good for the regular season. I don't know if the Thunder look good for the playoffs. I don't think the Thunder look amazing when you start thinking about the playoffs, matchups. I believe that the Thunder are going to still be a first, second round exit. They might be the toughest first, second round exit. But I don't think the Thunder are going to go any past that. And not because they're whack or because they're young. Well, it might be a little bit because they're young, but that's not the biggest reason. The biggest reason to me is going to be because they depend on Shea a lot, and everybody does their part on the team, but it feels like there's no difference between this year Thunder team and last year Thunder team. And everybody hypes up Shea, rightfully so. I think he's a very nice player. I think he's a young, amazing talent, but there needs to be some type of development with this team, and there needs to be some type of growth with this team, or a trade or something to change this team up. And when I say that, don't take it as I think they should mess up what's going on. That's not the case at all whatsoever. Because, like, don't do the Suns. Like what the Suns did when they traded for Kevin Durant, don't do that. That's really stupid. That would hurt your team more than it would help your team. But a couple of pieces here and there, 1 or 2 pieces, can change the whole dynamic of this team. It can change this team from an amazing regular season team to a team that has a potential chance in the playoffs to either go to the conference finals or knock somebody out in the conference finals, and potentially, with a small chance, make it to the finals. Because as if right now, I think the Thunder are an amazing matchup for a lot of these teams that they're going up against in the playoffs. But I don't think the Thunder are an amazing team to go to the finals or championship or the conference finals, depending on who they match up on. Now the Pacers, I'm going to watch them one more time tonight before I give a crazy take on them. But I also think the Pacers just need time. I'm not going to say they need change or they need a crazy development. They do need growth, but that's going to come in due time. I will say I'm going to watch them one more time tonight. I believe they're going up against the Celtics, and then I'm going to give my real take on the Pacers, because this can be an amazing team. They have a great point guard. They have a couple of promising pieces. Pascal Siakam has been playing great, and it's just a matter of where do the Pacers stand in the playoffs. And I feel like that is a question that NBA fans have had for the Pacers for the last decade. I think this team has a chance to break that. I just don't know how far they will go. But I'll give my prediction on them probably in tomorrow's video, so stay tuned. And if you care enough, like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications for that video. Now, the next take I have, I don't understand if the NBA has some type of leeway when it comes to load managing after Christmas, holiday season. But why Giannis and Damian Lillard did not play against the Brooklyn Nets? I thought there was a thing going on where the NBA was cracking down on load management. I thought there was some type of, you got to give proof. And I didn't see that. And that's the thing that hurts the NBA the most. I kind of mentioned this in the last video. You can go back and watch it. Everybody wants to talk about the ratings of the NBA going down. And we could have that conversation every day. We've had that conversation for the last couple of years. Everybody keeps saying it's because LeBron James, Steph Curry are getting older. What's going to happen when they retire? This, that, and the third. How can we build attraction to the young players coming in? Players got to play. And I don't mean players got to play through injuries and through a whole bunch of dumb stuff going on. I don't mean that. But a night like yesterday, where you have the Bucks with a Chris Middleton that just came back, I believe from ankle surgery, some type of rehab, and he's leading them past a young Brooklyn Nets team. And not that Chris Middleton is not talented enough to do that, but if you look at the Bucks are not built around Chris Middleton. And that's not the type of player Chris Middleton is. The Bucks are built around Giannis. So when Giannis sits out, of course they're going to struggle to a young Brooklyn Nets team. And I believe they even lost to the Brooklyn Nets. So of course that's going to happen. That's expected. And that's why the ratings are down. Because people, like the average NBA fan, does not want to come and watch a game without the stars playing. Especially on a night when you already have so many games packed in one night. 9 games is cool. I would prefer 7 to 8. But 9 is fine. Here and there is fine. But there are nights where the NBA stuffs 10 to 13 games in one night. That is excessive. That's unnecessary, and that's what hurts the NBA. Who is going to sit there and watch that? And there's so many young guys spread out around the team that are talented, and not even just the team, like around the league in general. So how do you expect the average NBA fan to want to watch a Jason Tatum, a Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, and then want to watch a Trae Young in the same hour? Or how do you expect them to want to watch a Ja Morant who's explosive and very electrifying, and then you want them to watch Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic at the same exact time? That is really hard to do. And especially for the average NBA fan, they're not really tuning in for basketball. They're tuning in for an amazing game. They're tuning in for a nice time. They're tuning in for what attracts them. They're not coming in to watch the whole entire game for every single basketball play. They're not coming in to watch a quarter, this game, a quarter, that game, a quarter. They're not doing that. And I think that's what hurts the NBA, because before we had the Warriors who was stuffed with a couple of stars. There was a time when the Warriors had a whole starting lineup of just straight ex-All-Stars. And then you had LeBron James on the other team, and LeBron James wasn't by himself neither. He had a couple of All-Stars on his team. He had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. So the attraction was mostly between two teams, and these games weren't garbage neither. These games were amazing. You had highlights. You had people put everything on the court. You had playoffs matchups that built those resumes. And that's what made people tune in to those games, and that's why we always compare to, like, every finals that goes on right now, we always compare it back to the Cavs Warriors time. That was a different time. But the reason why we can't have that back right now is because there's no attraction. If you look at, for example, right now, of course there's a new team that has won a championship since, I believe, 2018. There's been a new team every year. That is amazing. That's great. And you would think that would attract people, right? But the thing is, because it's a new team, people don't actually know what players are on these teams. The average NBA fan knows here and there, like a little bit, but there are people that you're trying to attract that don't know who's on these teams. So when it comes time for the finals, they're like, oh, I don't know who's on there, but I bet on them. Or I don't know how Jason Tatum plays, but I bet on him. I remember there was a time when somebody told me Luka Doncic played defense, and they bet on a couple of blocks from Luka. I'm like, what? You bet on blocks over for Luka? I didn't even know that was a stat you could bet on for Luka. That shocked me. And that goes to show you, a lot of these guys that you're trying to attract, and not just guys, like just in general, like humans, men and women, you can't attract them by stuffing a whole bunch of games into one night. It just won't work. You need to space things out, because you're trying to develop attraction to these players, and you want people to fall in love with these new players that are growing up in the NBA and are going to take the places of the LeBron James, the Steph Currys, the Kevin Durant, so on and so forth. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about that take down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for coming out to the locker room. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you made it all the way through. And safety.